Hello, Fremont County. Good morning. Welcome to WyoToday Sports Live. I got Cody Beers on the line with me right now. Kevin will join here in a bit to talk about the 3A, 4A regionals. But Cody Beers here joining us from Casper. First and foremost, want to touch on the boys swimming state results from last week. Congratulations, of course, to Alex Jordan. He was the state champion 100-yard backstroke swimmer for Riverton in the 4A meet, and he beat the field, by about 0.6 of a second. So that's a very impressive number. 0.6 of a second in swimming is you can kind of rest and watch everybody else finish at that point. Riverton also was the runner-up in I believe the 200-yard freestyle relay for state. So good showing for Riverton. They finished in 5th this year, which is probably one of their best finishes in recent memory, at least for me. They had a fantastic year, obviously conference champions, and then went to state and had a really good showing. Several finals qualifying swimmers for Riverton. That was a tongue twister, apparently. In the 3A side, the big question, of course, did Lander secure another state championship for their 30th year in a row? And, of course, they did by a whopping 90 points. So 30th year in a row for swimming, Lander Swimming, state champions. Congrats to them. And, of course, several individual state champions for Lander. Just sorting through the list here. Carter Playstead won the 100-yard backstroke for Lander. Lots of little text here and names, but I don't see. I don't see anybody else. Several in the top, the top 3 finishing on the podium for Lander. Obviously, you have to have that to win a team state championship. So, congrats to them. That was last week, I believe. Those state championship swim meets. But now we move to the 2A and 1A girls state championship happening right now in Casper. Obviously, the Wyoming Indian Lady Chiefs fell to Thermopolis in the regional championship last weekend, but they come out with a dominant performance in the first round of the state championship. Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, welcome aboard from the Ford Wyoming Center this morning, and Bighorn Lady Rams, who lost to Wyoming Indian yesterday, will take on the Shoshone Lady Blue. It's a loser-out affair, and the winner would move on to a consolation championship game tomorrow. But Coach Ryan Gilbertson and his Shoshone Lady Blue opened a state tournament yesterday against one of the state's best teams, the number 1 seed out of the East, Sundance, and it was Sundance with a 52-27 win over the Shoshone Lady Blue. In that game, Brenna Metzler with 4 points, 10 points for Natalie Gilbertson, and 5 points for Eckley Winfield for the Lady Blue. On the other side, one of the state's best players, Jalen Mills, scored 21 points, and her the big duo for Sundance, Halen Lohmeyer with 13. We moved on. I'll just move right into the boys. The Shoshone Wranglers then played the Bighorn Rams. Shoshone gave Bighorn a game for much of this game, but Bighorn would close late and win 46-32 over Shoshone. Oakley Hicks was outstanding in the game. He had to leave the game temporarily. It looked like he might have partially dislocated his shoulder, but he came back on the floor and caught fire and kept Shoshone close. He ended up scoring 15 points in the game. Junior Jordan Gilbertson with 8 points for the Wranglers. On the other side, Bighorn, who will play Thermopolis tonight, improved to 20-5 on the season. They are just huge. Big team. A lot of football players on this squad. They played for the 2A state championship. Caleb Adset with 13 points. Brendan Mogan with 12. And, man, if you see junior Chase Garber, that dude is a big man. He's 6'6", about 275, just a behemoth out there. Then it was the Wyoming Indian Chiefs taking on Wright last night, 71-61 win over the Panthers. Wyoming Indian was in deep foul trouble in this game. Baylor and Hyanito Monroe Black would foul out of the game. Adriano Brown would foul out, but it was Adriano Brown early that kept the Chiefs in this. He scored 11 first-half points, finished with game-high 16. Monroe Black with 15, Mitchell Seahair with 12, Cordell Spoonhunter with 11, and Wright was led by Joseph Kimbrell with 23 and Mitchell Stroshine with 19. But it was a battle last night between these two powers, and Wyoming Indian now moves on in the winner's bracket. Yesterday morning, got ahead of myself here. The Wyoming Indian Lady Chiefs with a 60-39 win over Bighorn, which Bighorn is out warming up on the floor right now to take on Shoshone. In that game, Taya Dixie led the way. She would score 17 points in the second half and finish with a game-high 23. Paisley Blackburn would chip in 3 3-pointers and 15 points. And Delaney Gambler with 7 points for the Lady Chiefs, who improved to 22-6 on the season. On the other side for Bighorn, Ava Taylor with 11. The story of this game,
You still there? Might have lost him here for a second.
in the
he's back.
Wyoming Indian win. So anyway, the Lady Chiefs will play at 3:30 today. And the Chiefs tonight at 8 o'clock on the Wind River Radio Network. Funny thing about this tournament, no programs. And so you can't write your winners in a bracket. You have to go on the Activities Association webpage and follow the scores. And I would encourage you to do that. It's WHSAA.org. And then you can find the link to state basketball there. But good basketball being played. Big crowd last night for the Chiefs game. Of course, the Chiefs fans were in the house yesterday morning as the Lady Chiefs had that 9 a.m. tip. It was an early morning for all of us as I left Riverton at 5:30 yesterday morning. Drove down here, got ready for basketball. You know what? The Chiefs and Lady Chiefs both have a shot. They're in the state semifinals. And the Chiefs will take on Pine Bluffs tonight at 8 o'clock. Lady Chiefs have a tough one against Sundance. And then, of course, sentimental favorites here this morning, the Shoshone Lady Blue. The Wranglers play at noon in another loser-out game. So here's hoping the folks in blue have a chance to experience win at this year's state tournament. You know, it's always fun to be here, Baylor. You've been here before. And good crowds. These little towns turn out, and it's just fun. And last night inside Casper College, it was electric. The atmosphere was just on fire. We had a lot of fun with about 1,500 Wyoming Indian fans in attendance. And, of course, people can tune in and listen to our games on the Wind River Radio Network. We can't video the state tournament because those rights are owned by an out-of-state company, but take advantage of our Chiefs broadcast, Lady Chiefs tonight, as will be on 99.1 KWYW.
Yeah, the state championship, certainly an exciting time. All those teams there, you know, the kind of the unique thing about the 1A, 2A is that any team can win, can make a run to a state championship. So, you know, every fan shows up that can, and it's kind of cool seeing every little town bring out their little unique, you know, squad of fans and kind of their unique cheering styles and everything like that. And of course, Wyoming Indian, you know, and when the team is good, it's really fun to be in that gym when you have about 1,500 to 3,000 Wyoming Indian fans. It gets really loud in there. And then, you know, the other teams I noticed in recent years have started showing up as well. I mean, if they're playing Wyoming Indian, but really any team, I mean, you might have 5,000-6,000 people in the event center, which is always exciting. Or excuse me, the Ford Wyoming Center for state championships, which is really exciting, of course. Let's see. moving on to wrestling, I finally was able to find these names, but Shoshone High School junior Brody Shepard, he won first place in the 126-pound 2A weight class at the state championship. So congrats to Brody Shepard. And then also, I had this up, Ben Nido became the school's first ever state wrestling champion for Wyoming Indian last weekend. He was in the 285 Class 2A heavyweight weight class. So congrats to Ben and Brody on those state titles there in wrestling. I wasn't a wrestler in high school, but that's certainly an accomplishment. I know wrestling is a grind from the very first practice to the state championship, and it's a monumental achievement to win a state title.
Yeah, wrestling's one of those things where you can't blame anybody but yourself if something goes wrong, but you can also pat yourself on the back when it happens. And for Wyoming Indian to get its first state champion, just outstanding. That 285 weight class, it's an interesting one because I'll tell you what, if those guys stay off their backs, they're outstanding athletes. But when you get on your back and you're that size and you got another 285-pounder on top of you, it makes things even more difficult. But wrestling is one of those mono upon mono sports. It's one-on-one. It's up to you to do big things. And congratulations to those two Fremont County athletes on their state championships. They can hold on to that one forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to do a quick shout out before we bring Kevin on. I finally found the results from the 3A state swimming championship. Lander, they won the 200-yard medley relay as a team. Gavin Jorgensen, he won the 200-yard freestyle as an individual. Gavin also won the 200-yard freestyle. I feel like this is the wrong. It's saying prelims. I'm not sure.
The amazing thing about Lander is they do it year in and year out, and sometimes they win with depth. Other times they have outs. These are swimmers that go on and swim in college.
Yeah. Lander has always produced fantastic swimmers. I think I do have the right. But yeah, those individuals for Lander, congrats to them winning their individual state championships. Lander has always been impressive. 30 years in a row. I don't know. I've never heard of any other school putting up a record
that's
quite
crazy.
Like that. Yeah.
Absolutely insane. I mean, that's a nationwide thing.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sarah, for hooking us up with Kevin here. Kevin, can you hear us?
I got you, Baylor.
Perfect. So we just got done talking about state wrestling, state swimming, and the 1A, 2A state championship for basketball. Any thoughts on any of that, Kevin, before Cody jumps off getting ready for his game here at 9?
Well, it looks very much like Thermopolis and Wyoming Indian took the first steps towards a rematch. So that's got to be exciting for all of our local listeners in Hot Springs and Fremont. And also it's probably the two best teams down there. So if they can take care of business today, we get the rematch we've all been talking about, especially since last Saturday afternoon's thriller between the Bobcats and Chiefs.
That's
no doubt about it, Kevin. These two teams are kind of on a collision course, but they don't want to get ahead of themselves because Thermopolis has got a game today against a very good Bighorn squad. And, of course, Wyoming Indian taking on Pine Bluffs, which has been an arch nemesis of the Chiefs for years here at the state tournament. Guys, I'm going to get off. I've got to prepare for the 9 a.m. tip. And, hey, Kevin, have a good call down in Riverton or down in Evanston today. Lady Wolverines need to win if they want to move a step closer to going to state. You guys have a great Wyoming weekend.
Yep,
you too, Cody.
Talk to you later. Yeah, Kevin, go ahead and run us through. You're down, obviously, in Evanston calling Riverton Wolverines basketball. How did the first day of the tournament go yesterday, and how are the games shaping up today?
Well, we're down here at 4A West, and it's both Riverton squads have put themselves in a bit of a hole. You went on day one in a double elimination, needing to win 2 before you lose 2. You can set yourself up nicely with a victory and give yourself, coach will never say it, but give yourself a little bit of room for error in a game if you get that first one. Unfortunately, the Lady Wolverines against the Natrona County Phillies, a team that Riverton beat the one time they played them this year by 10 at Riverton, back in either late January or early February. The turnovers, which I didn't think would be as big a deal because we're able to turn them over, but we were a good 7-8 turnovers over our average, were the Lady Wolverines. They had a real hard time. One of our Ranger keys to the game were best players got to be best players. Well, Carson Vosica, the leading scorer sophomore, finished with 16. Taylor Leesburg finished with a 12, I do believe. But unfortunately, that was really it. There were 5 total points scored by any other member of Riverton not named Leesburg or Vosica. And while the turn really didn't pull away till the very end, it was always an 8-point game. It just had that feeling like Riverton was not going to be able to close that gap. And that's why they're playing at 9 a.m. today on 93.9 KTAK, and it will be live streamed. They are facing off against Rock Springs, the team that they split the season series, losing by 1 down in Rock Springs, and handling them pretty decent at home. But, these games are all about mental. It's all about the mental game now. Who can, A, not quit on the season because it's still going on, and number 2, maybe more importantly, who can just forget about yesterday? Because yesterday, the regular season, everything else, none of that matters. It's 32 minutes. If you're the better team, you play tomorrow at 10 a.m. with a chance to qualify for state and go to the 3rd or 4th place game. If you don't, your season ends abruptly. For the boys, again, one of the things that's plagued the Riverton Wolverines all year has been slow starts. And they had one yesterday that was borderline epic. Got down by 21. Leading scorer for Kelly Walsh at NIP. He averages 12.7, so call it 13 points per game. He had 18 in the first half, finished in the mid-20s. Riverton, credit to them, came storming back in the 3rd quarter, got it to within 2. But then having to come back from 21 down, the legs just gave out. Of course, both Riverton squads going through dealing with injuries. Some they've known about in the case of Tatum Tyra for the girls, River White Plume for the boys. Bo Anderson is a question mark today. He was not here yesterday. And they kind of don't know when, but he's in concussion protocol. They don't know when he got it, but they discovered it at a practice when he came in. I guess they had music playing or whatnot. His ears were ringing. And while he's not a huge point scorer, he is capable of scoring some points. But defensively, offense, just a lot of the intangibles. Bo Anderson, as we know from whether it's playing golf for Riverton or playing Legion baseball for the Raiders, a big-time team leader, and missing him really, really kind of shortened the bench and had to change things against the Kelly Walsh team who, while the 3 seed Baylor out of their quad, they had beaten Riverton by the worst amount that Riverton lost since I've been here when they played at Kelly Walsh. So Kelly Walsh, you knew was a good team. They're very good shooting. They almost went running clock against us a couple of times at Kelly Walsh, and they played about the same game they did down there. Riverton played a better 3rd quarter, but the first half just absolutely killed them. And, of course, today, elimination game, that game at noon on 93.9 KTAK and on our YouTube. They cannot afford to lose that. They can't even afford to. They've got to come out fast. That's the key of the game. They cannot get down early, because then you start dealing with the mentality aspect of you just kind of resign yourself to your fate. And that's no rip on anybody, because that's kind of the nature of the beast.
Yeah, I remember, when I was in high school playing in a semifinal for football, but we got down by quite a bit, and it kind of was well, it's over, like we don't need to play anymore. But then we ended up kind of trying to storm back. But, it definitely is a mentality thing. And, coming into a loser out game, especially, you can hopefully, Bo is instilling at Bo and the girls basketball coach name is escaping me. I apologize.
Mike Bozeman.
Mike. Hopefully Mike and Bo are both instilling in their teams that, it's win or go home. And so lay it all out on the floor. There's very little risk in just doing everything you possibly can to win this game, because if you don't win it, that's the season right there. So from that mentality also, hopefully it's a fun basketball game for you. I mean, they obviously they need to win, and I think both coaches, they're good coaches, they're good teams, that they've played together a lot of basketball, so hopefully they can come out and have some good games.
Yeah, and that's one of those where I kind of feel for coaches a lot of times. If your team's not able to push that mental switch, I'm not sure there's anything a coach can say or do to make them push the switch. Now, in Riverton's favor is the fact that you've got 4 seniors playing today for the girls. You've got, minus the injuries, I do believe 7 seniors that will play for the boys. So, that experience level, that maturity level should help out in that. But, basketball's a game of runs, and we're going to know real quick where both teams, whether it's Riverton squads or, Rock Springs or Jackson, who's the opponent for the boys, who's got that mentality, because that basketball's a game of runs. And once a run happens against you, what's the body language look like? How's the play look like? Do they just realize, hey, it's a game of runs? Or do they start to hang heads? So it's going to be really interesting to see. It's early here. I expect the Evanston gym to be fairly empty, quite honestly, for this 9 a.m. game, especially because they're out of school, and we got 2 to 3 inches of snow last night here. So we will see, but they've got to somehow focus has got to be key for the Lady Wolverines defensively and offensively. For the boys, it's their defensive rotation has to keep up, because yesterday, just swinging around the horn in the first half, they would find Atnip, their leading scorer for Kelly Walsh, just wide open, just through passing around the horn quickly, not really setting any screens or anything. And the defensive rotation for Riverton was not just one step behind Baylor, it was 2 or 3 in the first half.
Wow. Yeah, it's really tough. Obviously, like you highlighted the injuries earlier. I mean, that changes everything. You have a really reliable player that goes down. Somebody has to fill in the shoes, but then that opens a hole somewhere else. So, I mean, obviously injuries, that's the worst part of sports, But
absolutely. And the good part with the injuries, if there is a silver lining, is outside of Bo Anderson, we don't know what his status is for today. We don't know if he came down. He was supposed to come down with the Webbers yesterday, but they wouldn't clear him. But maybe it was close. As far as River, you feel for them being seniors, and Tatum, they've been out a little while. So both the teams have been able to kind of function around that. The big miss for Riverton with River White Plume yesterday was he's one of their taller guys. He led the team in blocks when he went out. And for a post player, he led the team in free throw percentage by a large margin. He was 85% from the free throw line. Next closest is Gage Trieber, who I know you called in football, at 75%. And then the team kind of falls off. They hit him yesterday. They're going to have to hit him today, just like tournament, especially if they get down. You got to hit your free throws when you're trying to come back. They did a bit yesterday in the third and then fell in the fourth a bit, because that allows you to put points on the board without the clock being an enemy, because it stopped.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Riverton will have to certainly show up a morning game. I played in several when I was in high school, unfortunately, an elimination game in the morning, especially in baseball. But it's really tough. You have to show up, and like you said, it's a low energy atmosphere. You kind of have to make that energy yourself. So, it'll be a telling game if Riverton wants to try to make a run at state for sure.
Absolutely, we're setting up right now. We're hoping for a good game here and a Riverton victory, so we'll be here tomorrow. If not, the teams and us will be headed over South Pass if it's open. So
True.
today, but if they win today, the girls will play tomorrow in another elimination game at 10 a.m. It'll be a tough opponent because it'll be one of the teams that loses today for the first time. Same for the boys, but they will play at 1:30 tomorrow. And win that, and you go to the third, fourth place games, and those are at 3 and 4:30, I do believe, or something of that nature. But we'll take it one game at a time. But their backs are against the wall now. It's win or your season is over with, and it ends very abruptly for the 11 combined seniors on this Riverton High School squad.
Yeah, which you absolutely do not wish on them at all. Let's see. Just one more 3A team to touch on for the county, but Lander girls are in, or I guess I don't know if Lander boys and girls are both in level through the regional. They are, but the Lander girls they beat Lyman 40-26 yesterday, so they will play Worland at 3 p.m. tonight. Kevin, I assume that game is on air.
Yes, it'll also be live streamed on WyoToday's YouTube, as will be the boys' game. And Lander, credit to them, they did exactly the opposite of what Riverton did. They've given themselves that room of error. They need one. They got 2 more games. They got to win one, and they're headed to state. Girls should get there, I think, pretty easily, Baylor. The boys may have to do it tomorrow. They do face a very good level squad who's at home. And we got to see them in the Casper Classic for Riverton, and Lovell can compete with any 4A team. They're athletic, they shoot well, and they're giants. They got 2 giants who know how to play basketball. They're not just tall. They know the footwork. They're very good. So that one will be a hard out. Of course, if Lander Valley Lady Tigers win today, they're probably looking in the region championship against what I consider not only the best team this year in girls basketball, regardless of class, but the absolute best program probably the past 6-7 years in Cody.
Yeah, Cody's been really, I guess I shouldn't say a surprise, but I mean, they've really stepped up and then just continued that dominance in 3A girls basketball. They definitely are the team to beat. And like you said, yeah, Lovell, I mean, they are just, I mean, it seems like they're leaps and bounds ahead of the rest of the field. It'll take a perfect game, I think, for Lander to beat that Lovell team. I guess I shouldn't say a perfect, but near perfect. I mean, that Lovell team is just fantastic. It's one of the anomalies with Wyoming sports is unfortunately some towns just get the big kids for a year, you know, or 4 years, I guess, in Lovell's case. But yeah, Lander, they beat Worland yesterday 65-40. They play tonight at 7:30 p.m. against that Lovell team that you were talking about. Yeah, that'll be an exciting game, especially being at home for Lovell. Yeah, it'll be a tough game for Lander.
Absolutely, it will be a tough game for Lander. Lander, though, having a really great season, like Cody and I kind of discussed, semi-off record, nothing official yet. But you got to look at Lander Valley girls, Lander Valley boys coach, of course, Wyoming Indians coaches as our county coach of the year. All of them vying for that. So they've coached real well. And, of course, we hope everything goes according to chalk. Because and I think everybody should, not just because it's local for us, like the Bobcats versus the Chiefs or whatnot, but boy, that was, if you love basketball, both of those games this year, the one at Ethity and the one at region title, they were epic. And you know, so we'll see how that goes. We'll see how Lander Valley goes. We'll have basketball all day tomorrow, regardless really of what happens with Riverton. And, of course, I don't know if y'all touched on it, but, of course, Shoshone in the same situation at state that Riverton is at region.
Yeah, we did briefly touch on that. There's plenty of basketball coming up both today and tomorrow, all over the network. So if you're looking for basketball, it shouldn't be too hard to find for sure. But we are reaching the 8:40 mark on the hour. Kevin, any final thoughts about basketball before we sign off?
Not really, Baylor. Thanks for holding down the fort for us today as we're scattered throughout the state. And hopefully I'm in Casper next week calling in to you guys. But we shall see. And go Chiefs, go Bobcats, go Tigers, and go Wolverines. And go Wranglers and Lady Blue.
Exactly. Well, folks, that'll do it for the WyoToday Sports Live show today. Please drive safe out there. There was snow last night, obviously, so check those roads before you go. Please buckle up. And, of course, have a great Wyoming weekend. Sarah will be right back. We're going to sign off briefly. If you stay tuned, she will have an interview with Megan Dagenfelder, the state school superintendent, about some legislative updates. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, have a great Wyoming weekend.